I know his face very well, and I know his name. I know he was Cambridge's youngest black professor, and that he didn't speak until he was 11 or learn to read until he was 18. But you know what? I don't know the name of the man at Oxford whose harassment findings, sexual harassment findings, were actually confirmed and who kept his job for years afterwards. I don't know what happened to Jason Arday, and I'm not going to pretend that I do. But what I keep sitting with is the timing, because he was already facing serious public allegations before he died. And now he's gone. And instead of that, I'm in shock. I can't imagine how his family are. And people are still commenting, still deciding whether he deserved all the writing that was about him. Somehow his death hasn't slowed anyone down. There's a Cambridge professor who kept teaching this year while under investigation for sexual misconduct, and I don't know his name. There's a case at Oxford where the harassment was investigated and upheld and actually confirmed, and the professor kept his title for years afterwards. Don't know his name either. But I know Jason Arday's name and what he was accused of, plagiarism. Although it's serious, something worth investigating properly, but nowhere near what those other men were accused of. And that's two of many men in our universities. And I've been sitting with, why is this? And I don't think it's an accident. Some stories are simple enough to go viral. A plagiarism scandal, it's got a clean shape, before and after caught out, consequences. And the other kind of story is hard to tell in a headline because it involves victims who often they can't be named for their own protection, and institutions that would rather it stayed quiet. Processes that just drag on for years and they don't usually have a clean ending, and it's a verdict. It's not usually, we don't really know what happened. So the simple story gets the name and the complicated one just gets buried. Why did this story travel so far and so fast? And I don't think it's a coincidence that the same things that made him inspirational, being black, being autistic, being held up as the exception, proof of what's possible, they're also what made his fall just feel so enormous that everyone wanted to watch, and people wanted to watch for different reasons. And I'm not saying that's why people went after him. You can have your own view. I can't say what people are thinking, but I'm saying, how do you separate it? Why is his name the one that I know, and these other men who are accused of much more serious crimes, I don't know their names or their faces? I knew his face, I knew his name, and by the end of it, I knew his shame too, because everyone made sure of it. That professor at Oxford, the one with the confirmed findings, he held his head up for years. Nobody made a documentary out of that. Nobody built a hashtag. His name never once trended. Now, I don't know how Jason died today, and I'm not going to guess. But I know the hounding of him was real, and I know it landed on the most visible person in the story rather than the most harmful one. And I think that's worth sitting with, whatever the coroner decides. Now, you don't need to decide on a verdict today. You're allowed to just notice, where did your attention go to? Who it was protecting when your attention was on someone else. Thank you for sitting with me, and I'm really thinking of his family and his loved ones. There's just no words. But thank you for sitting with me.